let's take a look at infill. Click File, Examples, Cylinder, and we'll resize this so that it's, let's say, 20 by 20 by 10. Now I'll choose View Orthographic and View Top View so that I'm looking straight down at the model. Click Start Slicing, click Restore Defaults, click Infill, and I'm going to bring the top and bottom layers down to 0. So there will be no top and no bottom. There will be 2 shells, though, and I eliminated the top and bottom layers so that we could clearly see what the infill looks like. If you click on the fill pattern, you'll see that there are several different types of fill pattern. The default is hexagon, so we'll start with that. I do want to also turn off the raft, though, because I want to be able to see straight through the print when it's done. Click Slice, Slice Preview, and you can see what we have here. So you can clearly see what the infill pattern looks like. There's no top and no bottom. If you would like to have samples to refer to as to what the different infill patterns look like, you can print this out. That's a very quick print, 7 minutes. Now I'll click to close and I'll start slicing again. Go to infill, and this time I will change hexagon to line to see what that looks like. I click Slice, Slice Preview, and you can see that those are straight lines that are perpendicular to one another. Note that I did not change the infill percentage. For the hexagon it was 15%, and for lines it's 15%, but you can see that the degree of infill looks noticeably different depending on the pattern that you choose. So again, keeping the infill density at 15%, I'll choose triangle and slice, slice preview, and you can see that these are triangles for an infill pattern. One interesting thing to note, if you have a round shape like this, it's possible to tweak the infill percentage. Let's try 5 and see what I get. Slice, slice preview. Now you can see what happens is you can end up with a spoke, wheel and spoke type effect. And again, if you would like to have samples of the different infill patterns, and even if you want to print different examples of the different infill percentages, you can do that as well. They're very quick prints, 6 minutes. In this case, close, start slicing. I'll bring that back up to the default 15% infill density and take a look at the last fill pattern, which is 3D infill. Slice, slice preview, and looking at it from the top and the side, you can kind of see what's going on here. It's a gyroidal infill pattern, which is kind of interesting. Now, why do you have all these different infill patterns? Depending on your shape and what you're trying to accomplish as far as model strength and so forth, one of these infill patterns may be more advantageous than another. If you're just printing for aesthetics, display models, then your goal really is to reduce the amount of infill to the minimum, all right, so that your print will be quicker, it'll print faster, and you will use less filament. But if you're going for strength, or if you have a particular geometry that you're dealing with, then one or the other of these infill patterns may be more advantageous to you. And in addition to the pattern itself, you can also, of course, change the infill density to further customize your model. And also, lastly, I guess, just for purely aesthetic reasons, you may choose to, as I've done here, eliminate the top and bottom layers and display the infill on purpose, just for artistic effect or as a kind of decoration, depending on what your objective is. And here are my finished prints. This is the hexagon infill pattern, the triangle infill pattern, reduced to 5% density, so you get the wheel and spoke effect. This is the line infill pattern. Each layer is perpendicular to the one below it and above it. You can see the gaps for each layer. And finally, the gyroid or the 3D infill pattern.